Hello and welcome to the Soulful Mamas podcast. You're with your host Maria, and welcome to this episode. This episode is a Maria's Musings, and I thought it was timely that I would bring to you something that I created a few years back. It was a workshop called Presence Before Christmas. Presence as in the state of being presence rather than in the form of a gift, that type of presence. And it came about, I've been working with parents for many years, and I myself am a parent and have noticed this within myself and within my family, within my friends, the need for, or a yearning even for that sense of calm and a desire for a more unhurried approach in the lead up to Christmas. And often, November comes and it's, oh my goodness. Well, in fact, even before November, October, the shops already have Christmas decorations out, and you're kind of thinking, what have I missed? I'm still in April, maybe August at best, and suddenly you're telling me it's nearly Christmas. It gets worse every year. Dial on the time seems to have been really fully turned up, and it can be overwhelming. There's so much to do, and the expectations and the pressures and the do this and the don't do that, and it's so heightened in this time of the year. And it ends up, well, my reflection on this, I think it was about 5 years ago when I first created what I'm about to bring to you in the form of a presentation, but it's something I've been working with ever since I've had my own children, really, that questioning and pondering and getting curious as to what is this time for me, for my family? How do I want to bring this time of the year to my family? And it's a big question, because what happens is the clock strikes November, and suddenly the energy shifts, and there's a build up, a lead up, and part of it's anticipation, but it feels almost frenetic, almost chaotic. And when we allow ourselves to be like magnets, and like attracts like, and we are all joining one another in this hamster wheel of busyness and consuming and buying and purchasing and spending and eating and drinking, and it's really busy, and it's really hard to get off that wheel of doing, and you're just trying to do the right thing. You're just trying to, there's all these opportunities for events and social engagements and end of year gatherings and celebrations and parades and different type of festivities, and they're all wonderful, but there's so many of them. And so this is where we need to practice a little discernment of, okay, so we've got this much time before Christmas, these many weekends, and my children are this age, this age, this age. What is a realistic expectation that we as a family can achieve and can attend this year? And this is where it came in strongly for me to bring this to you, is a really practicing. If you've been listening to me for a while, you'll know I'm always talking about the sacred pause, really taking a moment to be still, to regroup, to come back into alignment and resonance with primarily yourself. And from that space, we are able to make the choices that we need to make in whatever circumstance. But for this example, it's this Christmas, lead up to Christmas time. And from that space of discernment, of stillness, we are better able to make a sacred yes or sacred no decision. And this is absolutely speaking from experience when my children were very, very, very young. I was caught up in that energy of, oh, there's a Christmas picnic at the lake, and there's an event at the river, and there's this wonderful Christmas market, and there's this Christmas market, and there's this end of year celebration, and there's so many things. And we got caught up in saying yes to far too many things. And our son Jack would have been, probably a toddler, maybe, he would have been 2. And all it did was create complete overwhelm for him and a dysregulation. And then it wasn't enjoyable for any of us. You get home exhausted and a feeling of, what was that about? What did we do that for? Who did we do that for? And, over the years, well, from childhood, I guess, I've always been curious, and I've always been one of those annoying why askers. Why do we do this? So I had to really think and sit with, why are we doing what we're doing? And I really had to think about, okay, what are we going to create as our family traditions around this time of the year? What do they even look like? My husband came from his family Christmas traditions, and I came from mine, and some were similar and some absolutely weren't. And prior to having children, we'd lived 8 years overseas, and every Christmas it was just him and I and friends, and we'd go exploring, and we'd be in a different country. Israel, Switzerland, Spain, New York, all over. It was our opportunity to travel. But I did love it because I loved the winter Christmas and the places that we were at, and I realized, as a child here in New Zealand, all of the imagery that we're given, or at that point anyway, all the Christmas cards, the decorations were all winter imagery with snow, and there's this, jolly looking man all rugged up in a red suit, and the fire's going, and it's really cozy and lovely, warming, nourishing foods and drinks. And it just felt so magical. And so this is the imagery we were given, yet we look out the window and we're going fully into summer. And so often many people would spend their Christmas day at the beach. And now as an adult, I think, well, how wonderful that we can do that. As a child, I remember feeling, what is this? This is not right. Where is Christmas? The magic, which I thought was the magic of Christmas, was that white Christmas. And yeah, it's really, really interesting. So it made me stop and really think, okay, so what is it that we want to do and bring in for our family? What traditions can we take from each of our own families, and what's important to us, and what can we adapt? What can we allow ourselves permission to let go of? And that's what we did. And I love to follow the wheel of the year, and so coming up to that time, summer solstice, which is either the 21st or 22nd of December, that longest day and shortest night, that's the time of really having that pause to acknowledge the gift of the sun, really, the sun's energy, with the food, with the heat, with the warmth, with the life on earth, really. So I love summer solstice. So what we did as a compromise is that, just within ourselves, for our family, we celebrate the summer solstice. We have just the 4 of us. We usually would go to the beach or some kind of water body. Now we have a beautiful stream flowing through the whenua that we're kaitiaki of, that we live on. So we now spend time down there. But it's about being together, having nourishing, beautiful seasonal foods. The children get to choose what we eat or make. And it's very calm and very chilled. It's just a real nice connection point, and it's not a big gift giving thing. Often I'll give them a little something, a special something, a magical something, and often they would have made something maybe at school, and that's when they give that to us. It's sort of unspoken it's more a reciprocity of energy and being together, and they understand it now because come Christmas Day, we are always away. We're always at where our families are from. That it feels different because it's wonderful because all the families together, there's all the cousins, there's all the food, there's all the excitement and everything, but it's pretty full on. And that summer solstice is our sacred pause. And for us, it's a non-negotiable. That day is sacred. And it is a really good reset for us going into the busier time of Christmas. And I have 3 other siblings, and we each have our own ways of bringing Christmas to our children, which look a little bit different to what our parents did, or some similarities. And it's okay, because it means by us having that time on the solstice, my soul is full from there, and it is for my children and husband too. It does something to bring us into this point of balance almost, and it helps me be fully present at Christmas. And that's a little tiny nutshell of the why behind where the need for presence for me came from. And a little bit of how I did this, that you can adapt or take little bits of if it aligns for you, is we follow the 4 Sundays leading up to Christmas, known as the Advent Sundays. Advent basically means to arrive. So the Christian church will have their adaptation of what Advent looks like, and other traditions do as well. And from a Waldorf or Rudolf Steiner lens, which really resonates with me and which I use deeply with our family, is honouring each of the 4 kingdoms or realms in the lead up to Christmas. So what that means, what are you talking about, Maria? What does that mean? So the 4 Sundays leading up to Christmas, the first one, we give gratitude and acknowledge the mineral realm, the mineral kingdom. The mineral kingdom are the rocks, the stones, the bones, the shells, the crystals, the foundation. Without that foundation, nothing is here. That is our earth. So we give thanks to the mineral kingdom. The second Sunday is the plant kingdom, the plant realm. The trees, the plants, the shrubs, the vegetables, the flowers, everything in the plant kingdom that grows upon the mineral kingdom, and that is what sustains life as well. Food, shelter, clothing, medicine, all what plants provide for us. And then the third is the animal realm, the animal kingdom, so showing appreciation for all of the animals, the 4-legged, the 6-legged, the 8-legged, the ones in the water, the ones in the air, the ones that creepy crawl, the ones with no legs, all of them. From the tiniest little insect to the biggest whale in the ocean and everything in between. It's having appreciation for them too, because they are each an integral part of our wider ecosystem that helps this the cycle of life go on, and obviously helps us humans a lot in many different forms and ways where we wouldn't be here without them either. And that 4th Sunday, we have appreciation and thanks to the human realm. It's really noticing the other, each other, the mirror of ourselves. So that 4th Sunday, that, it's a few days before Christmas, it's at the height of the busyness. It's have I got all the presents? Oh, I need to get something now for Aunt Susan because now she's coming for dinner. Have I got enough food? Oh, we're going away. I've got to pack the car. Have I got this? Have I got that? It becomes really busy. And when that happens for us, generally, is that we get really focused and our blinkers are on. So it's really hard to notice what is happening for others when we're just so focused on getting across the finish line for ourselves, kind of, getting to Christmas Day and collapsing in a heap after everything's been cooked and all the presents have been wrapped and all the travelling's been done. So that fourth Sunday, the realm of the human, it helps us to remove those blinkers and see how our fellow humans are faring. It might mean that your neighbour needs someone to have a cup of tea with. It might mean that that person that's racing around the car park needs that car park before you because they're in a hurry. And it might mean that you can see that a family member needs help with something. It might mean that you make that phone call to that friend or family member that you've been putting off because you've been busy and you'll do it later, or you do it tomorrow. And you know what? It's the tomorrow that never comes. So when that person pops into your mind, send them a message, pick up the phone. And I'm saying this because I'm terrible at this. This is when I wish that telepathy was fully back online so that every time I was thinking of someone, they knew that I was, that I'm sending them good vibes or love. Because I'm often thinking of so many people. When that actually leads into me picking up the phone or even messaging, it often falls short. So I am absolutely speaking for myself right here as well. But that's what that fourth realm is the human. Is noticing each other. Noticing how it is. And if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed or stressed even, just make sure you're checking in also with, if you're feeling like this, then how is your partner? How are your children? Because your children will most likely be reflecting back to you your current state of being. So it's taking a breath, taking another breath, a sacred pause, and really work out, is it a sacred yes or a sacred no of what you need to do at this time for this year? Because there'll be another year too where you can build on traditions as your children get older. I have parents that want to be able to have it all straight away. The child's not even one. And the lovely ideas, the intention's beautiful, but you can give yourself permission to develop that and let that grow as your children grow, as the years go. I'll give you a few ideas for each of those realms of what I do, so some might resonate. For the mineral realm, this idea started because I like the idea of the Advent calendar, but not in the form of the little cardboard box with chocolates in it from the supermarket. I wanted it to be a bit more meaningful than that, and I wanted it to be not chocolate as well. So I really sat with it and I thought, okay, well, I'm going to bring in the mineral kingdom. So it's that first Sunday, first Advent Sunday, mineral kingdom. What we do is we gather items from the mineral kingdom, so crystals, stones, shells, and we make a spiral. So if the first Advent Sunday is on the 1st of December, we collect 24 different crystals and shells. We make a spiral, 24 objects, and in the middle is a candle, and that represents 25, so that's of December, Christmas Day. And then we have two little wooden figurines. One's for my son, one's for my daughter, and each day they would move their little people one place around that spiral. And then the next day they'd move their people another one place until you get to Christmas Eve. They're at the last space of the spiral. And on Christmas Day, they move to the centre. And as a family, we light that candle and acknowledge for us that light represents the light within each of us. And so what that spiral represented was the journey, the anticipation of something special happening. There's magic. It's a real magical feeling. And there's that sense of delayed gratification that you don't get something instantly. But the joy that my children have had over the years of moving their two little people around that spiral, that's the magic for me, watching them delight in doing that. Waking up each morning and wanting to move their little person one more step closer. And then that connection point on Christmas Day, it's another one of our little sacred pause points. And we light that candle, and there's just a sort of a little collective breath of we've arrived at this point, and our light. We light the candle and it represents the light within each of us. And they know that they carry that light within them as well. And from that light is like fuel to then, as we navigate the day of whatever unfolds on Christmas Day. So that's the mineral kingdom. That's the spiral that I created, which, my children are 12 and 14 now, and I'll be completely honest with you, they still do it. And they don't moan about it, but I think they do it more for me. But anyway, I'm going to be doing this until, they're in their 30s. And if they're home for Christmas, I'm bringing out the spiral because it's a strong tradition that we have. And I think they'd probably miss it if we didn't have it. So that week of the mineral kingdom, we do things like collecting shells at the beach, or skimming stones on the water, or visiting the local mountains, the area, just appreciation of the foundation, the strength of our earth. And for young children, it's not spoken. It's not right, today we're going to do this, this, and this because we're acknowledging the mineral kingdom. It's not that, it's what you hold within yourself. So if this sounds like a whole lot of hoopla to you, you're not going to embody it, you're not going to carry it in your own heart and be able to impart it to your children as truth, because they'll think it's a lot of hoopla as well. So if this resonates, if it aligns, then you use it, and it's your embodiment of it and joy of it that the children feel and experience. And over the years, as they get older, yes, it can be spoken to more so, and they can then bring their ideas of where we can go, like caves or somewhere else where you can really experience that solid foundation of our earth. You'll have many, many ideas once you start thinking. The second realm, the plant realm, there's so many things you can do. Climb trees, hug trees, finish planting your garden, looking after your garden, watering it, weeding perhaps, harvesting things that are ready, going strawberry picking, going for bushwalks, making daisy chains, harvesting some beautiful flowers that are ready that you can make little posies or bouquets and give them to gifts for your neighbour or your friend or your teacher, or there's so much you can do. We often make different balms and creams from the flowers and different rongoa plants that we've harvested and dried, and we then give them away as gifts. It's just endless. There's so many things that you can do, and maybe experiment with new recipes, try a vegetarian dish or two perhaps. Endless ideas. Then the third realm, the animals. So that's just a deep appreciation of our animal friends. So you can give your pets extra attention, let them go for a run around in their favourite place, give them a bath if that's what they might need, just real extra care for them, just noticing the bird, just noticing what's about, just really having that deep noticing. And I'd always, when the children were younger, would have lots of animal books that would look at the whales and the worms and everything in between. There's so much you can look at there. And then the human realm, that last Sunday, that's when there's so many things that you could do. Just as soon as you allow yourself that sacred pause, a bit of stillness, you will notice it's like you have stood still and the world around you is like this whirlwind. You'll notice how busy it is for many people, and you will notice maybe there's something that you could do to make somebody else's life just that little bit easier. Maybe watching your friends' children, maybe helping your neighbour in the garden, maybe helping an elderly family member or friend get some of their jobs done that they need done. Just noticing, because everyone's on the busyness to try and make this beautiful, magical time for their own families, but we get quite focused on just that, and it's really about this expanse of humanity and noticing the good in all, that gift of the light within. And whatever religious background, spiritual practice that you have, this is all incorporated, because you can weave in that gift of that Christ consciousness can come in with that light, of the candle that you light. There's so many different layers. You don't have to be, you can't do this practice because you are of a certain faith. What I am offering is an acknowledgement, a space of gratitude to the natural world, our foundation, our means of life, really. And when we can come into a space of gratitude and appreciation, we can slow down and we can actually start to, that ripple effect will go out to, from yourself, your children, your family, your community. So allowing that space, and then within that you weave in what you do, your traditions, your where you go, who you're with, what you bring in, whether you do all the gifts, whether you don't, whether you have certain foods, whether you always go away, whether you always host, whatever you do, it's all perfect, it's all good, it's all wonderful. But coming into appreciation on a bigger, more expansive scale, and then creating and weaving your tapestry of magic that you do, makes it more sustainable, makes it more achievable, makes it more enjoyable. And hopefully you'll get to Christmas Day and you will be filled, like you'll have more of a soulful experience rather than this state of exhaustion and you're collapsing at the end of the day. So, oh, thank goodness that's over, because that's not the point of it, is it? And I'm not here to tell you what the point of it is for you exactly, because that's yours and you'll create that, and that will grow and evolve as your children grow, and your children might be growing now. What does that look like for you now? What traditions do you keep? What do you weave in just for yourself, for you and your partner, maybe grandchildren? It's all so wonderful and so magical. And yeah, sometimes so busy. So this is how I bring in presents before Christmas. And so it's my offering to you to perhaps take some of these things that resonate and you feel that you might be able to incorporate. And I have created a little guide for you to use and remind yourself of what I've been talking about. So you have to replay this all the time. And so it's just a really simple little booklet going over each of the 4 kingdoms, the 4 realms, and ideas of how you can bring this to your family. I've got photos in there, and there's some examples of how to set up the spiral. Yeah, it's really user-friendly. And yeah, that's free. So just in the show notes, there's a link. Just click on that and it will hopefully do its magic and make its way to you. And any questions, please do reach out. And I would love to hear what you do. It doesn't have to be what I do. I'm just sharing you what I do in my world. And I love hearing other people's ways of weaving in the festive season, whatever it is how you celebrate this time. Yeah, so do share, do ask questions. If you want some extra support in this time, I have had a few people ask if that's something I can do, and yes, of course it is. Just, yeah, again, just reach out, maria@parentingwithsoul.com or at Parenting with Soul on Instagram or Facebook, and I can connect with you and talk to you about how I can work with you just to support you through this time. And if you want to go deeper with each of those realms, those kingdoms, how to really embody it for yourself so you can bring it to your family, or just for yourself perhaps, then also let me know that too, because I'm happy to help in that way as well. I will talk about this again, probably. I will talk about it again, but in the meantime, have a really beautiful, soul-filling week, and I'm just wishing you and sending you so much presence at this time. And please remember your sacred pause.